Good evening, and welcome to the 2026 Social Innovator Showcase. My name is Julie Batilana. I am the founder and faculty chair of the Social Innovation and Change Initiative, also known here as SICI. It's a real pleasure for me to be here tonight, to have the opportunity to welcome you and to kick off this inspiring celebration. More than a decade ago now, we launched SICI at the Harvard Kennedy School with a bold mission to accelerate the world's capacity to address the pressing social and environmental problems of our time. We were convinced then, as we still are today, that academic institutions like Harvard have a critical role to play in generating and disseminating knowledge that is useful for practitioners who are working to address these urgent challenges. Much has changed in the last decade. We are living through a period of profound transformation shaped by the rise of AI. At this moment of rapid technological change, the need for us to intentionally design and implement change toward a just, sustainable, and human world is more important than ever. This belief is at the heart of the work we do at SICI. It's also at the heart of the research I'm conducting. My research has concentrated on how change actually happens inside organizations and across societies. And one lesson stands out. Challenging the status quo is necessary, yes, but it is never sufficient. Real change requires three things. It requires the courage to question existing norms and power structures. It requires creativity to come up with better alternatives. And it requires the collective effort to implement change and embed those alternatives so that they can be sustained. This is precisely the work of social innovators and changemakers. They challenge what is, imagine what could be, and work with others to turn possibility into reality. The SICI Fellows you will hear tonight has spent the year not only as Harvard students, but as dedicated social innovators and changemakers. Our team at the Social Innovation and Change Initiative has had the privilege of working alongside them closely, weekly, sometimes even daily, as they push their work forward. Tonight, through their presentations, you will see a glimpse into the future of social innovation and change, one that spans sectors, crosses boundaries, and depends on collaboration to address the social and environmental problems of our time. Because if there is one final lesson I've learned from my research, teaching, work with amazing social change makers like you, it is this: no meaningful social transformation is the work of a single actor. Change happens when people come together. So, as you listen this evening to these amazing SICI Fellows, I invite all of you to think about your role in that collective effort, what you could do to help accelerate and enhance the work of the SICI Fellows. As Margaret Mead reminded us, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Tonight, you will meet such a group. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of this work. Before I introduce our next speaker, I'd like to take a moment to thank a few people. To the amazing SICI team, thank you for making this program possible, for making this event possible. I'd especially like to thank Devin, Abby, and Ali. They are the amazing dream team leading this program. The students and I are deeply grateful for your dedication by mentoring and supporting them, both inside, and we all know, also outside the classroom, you've helped them grow and amplify their impact in tremendous ways. Thank you also to Chloé, Leszek, Justine, and Mel, who helped bring tonight's event to life. I'd also like to thank SICI donors. Thank you to each and every one of you for making this work possible and for enabling us to continue this program. Our donors are all listed in tonight's program, and it's a special moment in time. It's a moment when, social innovation has been under attack. Many people have been struggling to continue their work. So for us to be able to continue that work in solidarity with everyone is especially meaningful tonight, and I know it is to all of the fellows as well. And now I'm turning to you. What I want to do is take time now to thank each and every one of you. Our fellows, our alumni, we have some in the room, and I know we have many online, so thank you so much for being with us. The broader SICI community, I know, and we all know, how difficult the work you're doing is, but we all also know how essential it is. All my gratitude. Thank you again. Okay, without further ado, I now would like to introduce my dear friend and colleague, Brittany Butler. Brittany Butler is the Executive Director of the Social Innovation and Change Initiative. She is an adjunct lecturer in public policy here at Harvard Kennedy School. She's been leading this program with me over the past 10 years. This is a program we co-funded, and I know you didn't want me to do that, but I'll still do it. Thank you so much for having me this amazing partner.
That's the thing about a good friendship. They don't have to listen to you. Thank you, Julie. Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you all tonight, both in the room and also online. One of the best, coolest things about the Kennedy School is actually not only the research that's produced here, which is incredible and cutting edge, but it's also the investments that we make to turn all the insights from that research into programs like the Accelerator that we're going to celebrate tonight. At SICI, we support social innovators not only in kind of imagining theoretically what change could look like, but in building it literally while they're here. Our flagship program is the Social Innovation Fellows program. It's a very selective accelerator for students from across all Harvard schools who are testing, building, and growing ideas for social change. Before joining SICI, I led 2 startups focused on social impact, and so I know from personal experience that this work is hard. It is not for the faint of heart. And after spending the past year with the students who you're going to hear from tonight, I can say that they are ready. They are bold, they are incredibly talented, they're courageous, they're kind, and they're deeply committed to making the world better for not just themselves, but for all of us. I can't wait to introduce you to them. That's my privilege. So here's how the evening is going to go. Each fellow is going to have just 3 minutes to share what they're creating. So you can think of that as like a trailer before the movie. If something sparks your curiosity, I hope you take time to learn more about the movie tonight or after this event. We've organized the presentation into 2 themes. So each year, these themes emerge organically from a cohort of students. They shape how we support them, and they reflect the kind of challenges that social innovators everywhere are working to address. So our first track is health and human well-being. At its core, this work asks us to consider what it really takes for people to live healthy, dignified, fully supported lives. We know the answer is not evenly distributed. Health outcomes are still shaped by access to care, to information, and to stable systems of support. And the fellows in this track are really working to shift that reality. Our second track is economic systems and digital power. We recognize that opportunity is shaped by digital systems, and those who control them govern our economic and social lives. The fellows in this track are taking on how the technologies can be built and used for us all. They're expanding careers, rethinking data and privacy, and building more sustainable infrastructure. Before we begin, I'm going to do one more thing, and it's a little different. At events like this, it's easy to attend and watch and leave only knowing the people that you showed up with. But as Julie said, nobody creates change alone. So we'd like to begin by helping new connections form in this room tonight, or even online. So for the next just 3 to 4 minutes, we want you to turn to someone that you don't know and say what brought you here and what you're really excited to hear about tonight. Share who you are and what you care about. If you're joining us online, you can jump in the chat. Time starts now. not working. All right. This is much better than a classroom. I don't get loud mics in the classroom. Okay. I actually don't have that much more to say. I just want you to come back together. Now that you're better acquainted, we're going to begin the show. You ready? Please join me in welcoming Akonkwa Mubagwa to kick off tonight's presentations.
In rural Liberia, a little girl named Fatu with respiratory problems makes the 7-hour trip to the nearest hospital for emergency surgery. Halfway through the procedure, the electric grid collapses. Complete darkness. The doctors put out their phone flashlights and complete the operation. Fatu survives the surgery, but afterwards, she needs oxygen and medication that needs to be kept cold. Her parents pay for fuel to keep the hospital's generator running overnight. But there's a miscalculation. The fuel runs out. The generator stops. The oxygen dies. And so did she. Fatu was 10 years old. This is a reality for 11 patients every hour in hospitals across Africa. Not because the doctors lack skill, not because medicine is unavailable, but because the infrastructure is unreliable. My name is Akonkwa Mubagwa. I'm a Belgian Congolese engineer with over a decade of experience deploying technology across Africa and Europe. I've been in those hospitals. I've witnessed this firsthand, and I decided that this is a problem that I would dedicate my career to. At Winko Solar, we are a venture-backed, for-profit that delivers the sustainable, connected infrastructure that keeps hospitals alive with electricity, light, oxygen, refrigeration, and internet, all managed as one integrated system, completely solar-powered. We have completed installations in Liberia, with projects underway in the Gambia, Uganda, Malawi, and Ghana. Our very first hospital has had 0 downtime since installation. To be clear, that is from daily interruptions because of a diesel generator that's failing to 365 days of uninterrupted life-saving care. Which led us to this insight. The very first layer of care only consumes a fraction of the hospital's total power demand. So, we build modular units that secure that layer first. They're radically more affordable and faster to deploy and help the healthcare facilities get the support that they need fast. This year to date, we have sold over $1 million of systems reaching 10 million patients. At Winko Solar, we plan on deploying across 100 hospitals across East and West Africa in the next 3 years. So my ask is this: if you are a funder, a health system leader, or anyone who works with hospitals that still run on diesel and hope, I would love to speak with you. Join us so that children like Fatu don't have to die from problems that humanity already knows how to solve. We can achieve 0 downtime critical care everywhere. Thank you.
A man in his 20s messaged me last month. I read about STDs and cervical cancer on the internet, and I am in hell. Many times I cry and I think my life is over, he said, as he realized his teenage sexual activity may have put him at risk of sexually transmitted infections. He said, "Believe me, I am not a bad person. Things were not taught to me. Should I consult a doctor?" My name is Karishma. I grew up in India, where we have no mandated sex education for our 600 million youth. It is even banned in 6 states. This means millions of 18 to 30-year-olds, like me, are now young adults with little to no formal sex ed. Over 60% of us learned what we know from pornography, social media, and our peers. These sources are incomplete, and they reinforce misinformation and harmful gender norms. My peers and I didn't learn basics like how to put on a condom or what a healthy relationship looks like until we were well into our 20s. This is why I started Talk You Never Got, to offer sex education for young adults. We use two main channels to meet people where they are. Online, we distill public health information into bite-sized, trendy videos on social media and in-depth online courses that reach adults through intentionally close-knit groups to build trust. We pair this with in-person trainings at educational institutions, nonprofits, and informal spaces like cafes. In 5 years, we've gotten 25 million views and 4,000 user questions. We've reached over 1,000 people through online and offline workshops. Every week, I get questions about basic sex ed topics like menstruation, how to prevent pregnancy, and masturbation from people who live in cities across India. These questions were my questions too when I began volunteering to teach sex ed as an undergrad 8 years ago. I was trained by Planned Parenthood. I'm now here at Harvard to pursue my master's in public health to advance this work sustainably and at scale. Our work is well received by those who need it, but it faces pushback both online and offline. This is why we're expanding how we reach people in India today. We're creating safer spaces for this exploration as a community so that people can not just get information, but also ask questions and practice talking out loud with those around them. We want to unlearn the shame and stigma as a community so that people are more likely to ask for what they need, both with their partners and their healthcare providers. We imagine a world where everyone has the knowledge and agency to make informed decisions about their sexual health. As we continue to grow our education team and scale our online offerings, we ask for your support. If you are a funder, or if you are working to reimagine what health communication looks like, I want to speak with you. And share our work. Like, comment, subscribe, and share our channels. Let's get people the talk you never got.
At the age of 4, I was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer that I wasn't expected to survive. I had a 20% chance of survival. I survived, but not just because of medications, because my family became relentless navigators. They coordinated appointments, pushed for second opinions, tracked every single detail, and ensured nothing ever fell through the gaps. The reality is, millions of patients around the world do not have that access to navigation today. Growing up, I was exposed to something which most people aren't. Living through a chronic condition is so much more than just accessing treatment on time. It is about coordination. And patients going through cancer and chronic conditions alike are expected to manage prior authorizations, insurance, billing, life at home, transportation, all while simultaneously being critically ill. I was just talking to one of our patients the other day, and he spent hours on the phone with his insurance providers, and he's undergoing cancer treatment. He is fighting his insurance, and he is fighting cancer at the same time. The truth is, in today's world, information is increasingly becoming commoditized. It is easier than ever to go on ChatGPT or Claude and know more about your healthcare options and insurance. The bottleneck is no longer information. The bottleneck is taking action. And that asymmetry which exists between information and taking action is what Arul Health stands to solve. We are building a multi-agent care navigation platform that takes action for patients. Our AI agents persist until the loop is closed. Whether it is negotiating with insurance, whether it is booking transportation, whether it is getting patients into the second opinions they require, our agents allow patients to focus on healing instead of navigating. In the few months we've been live, we launched a product over thousands of patients across metastatic breast cancer and pediatric cancer, and we've already achieved a run rate of $160,000 through incredible pharmaceutical partners such as Gilead and Serb Biopharmaceuticals to deploy our solution to patients that need it the most. The reality is, the future of care coordination needs to be automated and agentic. And we're building the system that allows patients to have that navigation which I had, which saved my life. Our ask tonight is connect us with pharmaceutical and life science partners and patients who would benefit from our solution. Thank you.
In Kenya, 8 in 10 children living in an orphanage have at least one living parent. These children are not orphans. These are children separated by poverty, stigma, and a system that has made orphanages the default response to economic hardship. I know this because I've lived it. When I was 5 years old, I was separated from my family, and I was placed in an orphanage. Growing up there taught me to be very resilient and grateful, but it also taught me that what truly protects a child is not just a building, it is the permanence of a family. And yet, I've watched mothers in my community, women like Grace, stand at the gate of an orphanage, believing that giving up their child was an act of love. Not because they didn't care, but because they had no other option. This is why I founded Nia Yetu, our deepest desire in Swahili. Nia Yetu is a community-based organization working to keep children in families. We identify families at risk of separation through schools, local leaders, and community networks. We work with them to assess their needs. Then, we provide economic support to help caregivers start or grow their income-generating activities. Each family is paired with a social worker for ongoing follow-up and to ensure that stability is attained. We've been doing this work since 2022, and since then, we've been able to keep 3,000 children in families by helping households to achieve income stability. And for families like Grace, the impact was simple. I didn't just get help, I got my family back. Families don't fall apart because they lack love. Families fall apart because they lack resources. And orphanages, while they appear to offer protection, they often reproduce long-term harm, separating children from their families, their communities, and their sense of identity. Right now, Kenya is shifting towards a family-based care model. This is creating the urgent opportunity to invest directly in families. Nia Yetu is working to scale this intervention across Kenya. Our next 500,000 will impact 20,000 families by 2027. So, if you are building or funding solutions that strengthen vulnerable families and expand economic opportunity, I would love to speak with you tonight. Because every child deserves to grow up, not in an orphanage, but in a family that has the dignity and the capacity to choose them every single day. Thank you.
Now introducing track 2, Economic Systems and Digital Power.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. My name is Bisola Halabi, and I'm building EUs and tech. I would like you to meet one of my students, Ada. Ada was a computer engineer, and just like every woman, settled down to start a family. Her husband asked her not to work, and 10 years down the line, he passed, sadly, due to cancer. Ada watched her husband's family take over the entire property. She had to start her life all over again. Ada had to tend to 3 children. She reached out to us at Heels and Tech, and I could relate to Ada because despite being trained as an economist, having worked across several tech organizations, I had also become a stay-at-home mom for 3 good years. This is not peculiar to me. In my country, Nigeria, every year, 29 million women leave the workforce as soon as they birth their first child. The system kicks them out with no plans for them in the future. And that was why I created Heels and Tech, an e-learning platform that helps women reintegrate back into the workforce. We do this by offering online digital in-demand training and also place them in organizations. Majority of these women have lost their confidence, so we focus on confidence building and community. A lot of these women also have petty businesses they run from home. So with the help of our digital skills, we move them from petty business owners to middle-level businesses. And it's working. We've trained a total of 13,000 women, and an average student earns $50,000 annually. They work in organizations across the financial institution, consulting, hospitality, and several others. We recently partnered with MTN Foundation to train 6,000 underrepresented women in the northern and southern parts of Nigeria, 6 states in total. This helped us to scale our initiative. I'm happy to say that Ada's kids are thriving now. She has a place to call home, and she now works as a consultant in an hospital through the training that we offered her and the support. Our goal is to reach 1 million women by 2030. We need your support. Introduce us to development organizations and private institutions. No women should be vulnerable due to childbirth and caregiving. Help us end this cycle of poverty. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention. It's a scarce resource nowadays, and with an average of 40 seconds, I'll lose half of you by the middle of this pitch. And yet, attention is all you have, because what you pay attention to shapes who you will become. Today, much of our attention is captured by multi-billion-dollar companies, optimized for profit, not healthy development. The average teenager spends twice as much time on social media than in school, forming their identities inside feeds flooded with misinformation and extreme content. On the individual level, this creates fragmented attention and rising anxiety and depression. On the societal level, this drives misinformation and polarization, threatening democratic life. With a background in behavioral economics and years of building data systems to inform consumer decisions to drive social change, I know how powerful agency over data is. And for the generations growing up in these feeds, I'm determined to put this agency back into people's hands. This is why, together with my co-founder Zina, a machine learning engineer in the child development space, and a team from Oxford and MIT, I'm building Myranda, my randomized data. Myranda collects all your social media data locally and turns this into a weekly rewind, uncovering how your algorithm shapes you and puts you back in control. Think Spotify rap for your feed paired with an AI agent that reshapes your algorithm in your interest. By doing this, we can change the information diets of teenagers to be less biased, more evidence-based, and more diverse. In our first study, we analyzed videos across YouTube, Netflix, and TikTok to uncover the digital selves of the students we worked with. And 80% had a transformed awareness of their online behavior, which directly translates into better mental health and enables these students to become more informed and engaged citizens. We want Myranda in the hands of everyone who wants to take control of their information diet, but especially in the hands of teenagers and their parents who care about how their children are growing up. And this is why Myranda is free for schools. If you have a kid, we are on track to get our first 1,500 users before opening our seed round. And if you have a kid that is currently in school and should have access to Myranda, come talk to me and we can make this happen. And if you want to have access to Myranda yourself, follow us and join our waitlist. The rise of AI creates tremendous challenges for our society, but it also creates opportunities. And Myranda is a clear example of how we can use the power of AI to do something good. So let's use the tools that we have to build the future we want.
The poorest farmers on earth usually end up paying the highest prices to access basic agricultural inputs. Take poultry farmers in Ethiopia, my home country, as an example. These farmers end up paying up to 3 times more than their global peers to access the same amount of animal feed due to broken supply chains and import dependencies. The results: low productivity, squeezed incomes, and more importantly, nutritious foods such as eggs and poultry meat become unaffordable to the mass population, driving malnutrition and stunting. To put this into perspective, the average Ethiopian consumes 13 eggs per year, and more than 6 million children suffer from acute stunting driven by protein deficiency. At Revolv, we're working on solving this broken supply chain in a way that's both commercially profitable and structurally scalable. Instead of relying on commodities such as soy, which are quite expensive to feed animals, we leverage a resource that's abundantly available and often not put into use: organic waste. We collect organic waste from farms and factories. We feed it to these insects called black soldier flies. These insects consume the waste and grow in size rapidly. Anything else that they can't consume is excreted out. At the end of the cycle, we harvest these insects, and they become high-quality poultry feed, which is produced at less than half the cost of conventional products. The byproduct is organic fertilizer that goes back to the farms, improving soil health. We currently have 2 pilot sites up and running in Ethiopia, converting tons of organic waste every week and supplying affordable inputs to farmers. Later this year, we break ground for the construction of our first commercial facility for insect breeding and bioconversion that will have a capacity of processing more than 30,000 tons of waste per annum. In the long run, we will ship these insect eggs to farmers so that they can process their own waste on their own land at a negligible cost. My co-founder Delilah and I, both Ethiopians, bonded several years ago over one frustration. How come one of the most fertile regions in the world fails to feed itself? Now we're heading back home to play our part in answering that question. We're currently raising $1.5 million to build the first phase of our commercial facility and improve our insect genetics so that we can produce at scale and unlock our next growth stage. If the mission of improving farmer livelihoods, boosting access to nutritious food, or diverting waste from landfills resonates with you, let's talk. I would like to share more about our work because the poorest farmers on earth should not be paying the highest prices. Thank you.
Wow. I told you they were good. Let's give another round of applause to the incredible fellows. It's been such an honor to work alongside all of you and to witness the immense progress that you've made in the last 8 months, really. So, this is the end of tonight's showcase, pretty much. And it also marks the end of this year's accelerator program. Soon these fellows are going to graduate, and they're going to join a network of 133 other alumni from across more than 33 countries who are advancing social and environmental change around the world. At our last count, SICI Fellows had directly impacted more than 138 million people and indirectly impacted countless more with policies at the national, state, and local level. After what we heard tonight, I have no doubt that number is going to continue to grow for many months and years ahead. And as impressive as the numbers are, I think I'm more inspired by the resilience and the dedication of these leaders. They look at some of the world's hardest problems and they say, we can do something about this. And at a time when democracy is being tested and our long relied upon institutions are being shaken, they are forging ahead. Their work is a reminder that even when the world can make it seem as though nobody knows how to solve any of the complicated challenges facing us, there are incredibly competent people of integrity doing exactly that. And all they need is support. So to everyone in the audience, thank you. You chose to spend your time here instead of whatever else somebody probably was trying to tempt you into doing. You chose to listen and to learn and to build community with the people in this room. So if you're joining virtually, I also want to say thank you. And you can find the contact information for each of the presenters in the chat, and we'll follow up more by email tomorrow. We hope you stay in touch. If you're here in person, we invite you to stay, probably till about 8, a little after. Fellows will be stationed around the room in the back. You can just look for the signs. They're kind of organized by track. Please stay and enjoy a bite and a drink and take a moment to connect with at least one of them. I've literally seen those conversations after the event become the spark that launches their projects. It opens an unexpected door or changes the trajectory of their work. And so I also want to say that while this year's program is wrapping up, applications for the 2026 fellowship are opening in just a couple weeks. So also, if you know somebody who might be a good fit for our community, please have them talk to the students because they know the program best and they can tell you if it's worth their time. To close the evening, we have one final speaker. You've heard from SICI about social change, you've heard from these fellows about what they're doing, and now to speak to the experience of being a social innovator in this world, in this moment, in this program, please join me in welcoming Nia Yetu. She's this year's cohort speaker and another member of the SICI Fellow community.
What does being a social innovator actually means? I have to confess that I struggle a lot identifying myself with those words. Probably because there is no one unique profile. But because we're in a program that all day tells us that we are either social innovators or change makers, I had forced myself to answer that question. And after a lot of thought, I found 3 characteristics that I think all social innovators have in common. The first one is more of a feeling, of an impulse. The best way to describe it is with a burning chair. You are seated on a table with other people, you see a problem that you deeply care about, and suddenly the chair starts to burn. You stand up, only to realize that you are probably the only one standing up. And then you understand that you are burning, not the chair, and that feeling will not go away until you either solve the problem or at least make everyone else stand up with you. The second characteristic is more of a conviction. And this came to me when I found the message a couple of days ago that I sent to the first 20 volunteers of the first organization I co-founded. I was 15 years old, and the organization was called Grupo Compartir, which means sharing group in Spanish. It was a bridge organization that provided information and dinner for families in the largest public hospital in Mérida, my hometown in Mexico. The message said, "Thank you for your hard work, and remember not to expect a thank you from the people we are serving, because what we are doing is not heroic, it's our responsibility." I think that's the second characteristic, a strong conviction that what you are doing is not heroic, but rather a big responsibility. The third characteristic is more of a tendency, an inclination to take steps that are longer than your legs, to push limits, to test boundaries, to get your hand dirty in the process, because what's already built is not enough. But we don't have to imagine how does this person with this feeling, this tendency, this conviction looks like, because we are literally have been hearing them all night. Social innovator is someone who opens the door of the fridge to make breakfast, sees 13 eggs, and thinks, how can I make all Ethiopians have enough protein? Someone who turns on the light of his room and thinks, how can I make lights never go off in public hospitals in Africa? He's someone who does not take for granted the good luck of having parents that navigated the health system, or the good luck of finding a job after having 3 kids, or the good luck of having sex education. And because of that, they want to create a world that healthcare and opportunity are not based on luck. He's someone who wants to return agency in the hands of youth and families so they can determine their own future. What kills a social innovator is not failure. It's not pivoting. It's not leaving an organization, something I can talk about. It's not closing one. It's doing it alone. It's burning out alone. And that is why SICI is so important. It's not just a bunch of frameworks to rethink what you are doing. It's a community that you can turn to, ask difficult questions, that will ask honest questions to you, but that also believe in what you are doing, and that will hold you through difficult times. So, as everyone else before me, I also have an ask for all of you, but it's quite simple. First, identify social innovators around you, or maybe you are one of them. Second, send them a message. Tell them that you believe in what they are doing. Or better, invest in them. Put your money where your words are. And third, tell them to sign up to SICI. My name is Renata Millet, and I am working to create better opportunities for disadvantaged youth through education, because I believe that is our responsibility. And like every other social innovator in this room tonight, I am here for the long run. And I am inviting all of you to join us. Thank you very much for being here, and enjoy the rest of the night.
I gave it my best shot. I did something every single week.
Look, I spit a verse so a horde of heathens can find the light. But keep a pistol that tear tissue like it's time to wipe. Don't fret, my first step ain't to resign your life. Plus the pistol